To make switching to the new Boost Mobile risk-free, we're offering a 30-day money-back guarantee.
So why wouldn't you switch from Verizon or T-Mobile?
Because you have nothing to lose. Boost Mobile is offering a 30-day money-back guarantee.
No, I asked why wouldn't you switch from Verizon or T-Mobile?
Oh.
Wouldn't.
Because you love wasting money as a way to punish yourself because your mother never showed you enough love as a child?
Whoa. Easy there.
Yeah.
Applies to online activations. Requires port in and auto pay. Customers activating in stores may be charged non-refundable activation fees.
This episode is brought to you by the new podcast, The 5 Books. If you're curious what inspires your favorite Jewish authors, then I've got the perfect recommendation for you. The brand new podcast, The 5 Books, which explores what it means to live, write, and read as a Jewish American today. Hosted by literary insider Tali Rosenblatt-Cohen and created with support from the Jewish Books Council, The 5 Books creates a beautiful space for listeners to connect with debut novelists and best-selling writers about the 5 books that have shaped and guided their journeys and Jewish identity. That includes conversations with beloved authors like Yael van der Wouden, the Dutch author of The Safekeep, which was shortlisted for the Booker Prize, Zibby Owens, New York's most powerful bookfluencer and author of On Being Jewish Now, and Samantha Green Woodruff, author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, The Lobotomist's Wife. Each episode dives deep into growing up and how books continue to act as personal touchstones for our culture. So whether you're looking for a new book recommendation or a fresh perspective, be sure to listen to The 5 Books, wherever you get your podcasts. Ever ponder the age-old question, how do you mend a broken heart? Well, Hadassah doctors do it every day, literally, with groundbreaking methods and cutting-edge technology. Tune in each month to the Hadassah On Call podcast as we take you behind the scenes at Hadassah's hospitals in Jerusalem, where medical pioneers create life-saving treatments. Meet oncologists discovering new ways to treat cancer, surgeons using new software and implants for severe spinal injuries, immunologists working on replacing the EpiPen, and more healthcare superheroes. You'll also get tips for staying healthy and hear stories of patients whose lives have been transformed. Ready to be inspired? Search for Hadassah On Call, wherever you get your podcasts.
My great-grandmother came here at the turn of the century. She was an unmarried woman in her late 20s, early 30s from Galicia, Poland. And she came to help her great-uncle who was building different communities around the old city. And while she was there and supposedly helping with his kids, she actually went off and had a love affair with an Ottoman official on a rooftop in the middle of the old city.
Oh, the rooftops. The rooftops.
Yeah. So you can imagine how well this went down with her religious family. And so when they got wind of it, they sent her as far away from Jerusalem as they could. Not back to Poland, but all the way to Chicago, where she met my great-grandfather. And they got married and had my grandmother, who had my mother, and here I am. And so that part of our family history really resonated deeply with me as I was off looking for my own love affairs on rooftops in Jerusalem.
How did that go?
So my partner is a Christian Palestinian citizen of Israel with some Armenian heritage, and I'm Jewish and proud of it, and that's sort of at the forefront of my identity.
Hey, I'm Mishi Harman, and this is Israel's Story. This week marks what we can only hope will be a turning point in life here. There are different narratives around the ceasefire agreement: pain and joy, victory and defeat, redemption and surrender, excitement and fear. It's hard, almost impossible, to hold all these feelings at once. But in today's Wartime Diary, we bring you the story of someone who has to hold conflicting feelings and different narratives all the time, within her own living room. A few episodes back, we shared the story of Anwar bin Badis, a Muslim from Jerusalem who, together with his Jewish wife, is trying to understand how to be both a partner and a parent in a mixed family during these fraught times. And our episode today is, in some ways, the flip side of that story. Not of Anwar's family, but of Sarah's.
I'm Sarah Tuttle-Singer. I am a mother who lives in Jerusalem and writes stories.
Sarah is an author, journalist, blogger, and social media guru who writes, among other places, for our partners at the Times of Israel. She sat down with our producers Jennifer Cutler and Mitch Ginsburg to describe the complicated reality of her life. Here she is.
I grew up in Venice Beach, California. I made Aliyah officially in 2010 when I was almost 30 years old. And I fell head over heels in love with Israel, but specifically with Jerusalem and with the different sort of mosaic of faith and peoplehood that we have in this special city. And so I decided I wanted to live in the old city in each of the four quarters. And some days were really fraught and painful. But while I was living in the old city and getting to know different people, I got a message on Facebook from a guy who wrote to me and said, hi, I really liked your article, and I'm a musician and I have a concert in Bethlehem. Would you like to come? I thought, okay, he wants me to write a story about him. I thought he's cute, but I had no intention of actually writing that kind of article, and I was busy at the time, but we kept in touch. And then about a year later, I noticed that he had gotten a tattoo on his arm in Aramaic of the Shema and the Ve'ahavta. And he had gotten it at Razuk Tattoo, which is the same place where I get all of my tattoos. So I took another look at him. I thought, wow, he really is cute. He's got nice eyes. He has kind eyes. So I sent him a message to say, Mabruk on your tattoo, congratulations. How's it going? And he said, oh, I'm fine. I'm studying for my tour guiding license. What are you doing? Do you want to go have sushi in Bethlehem? Okay, those are two words I never thought would appear in the same sentence, sushi and Bethlehem. Sure, why not? And so we went out, and it was another world altogether. And I felt some trepidation, but I was also really interested in learning more. And I felt safe with the guy next to me. And so we went out, we talked about all sorts of things, including something he said that really moved me. He said, I know Jewish people are really interested in building a third temple. He said, but I think you already have. Oh, really? Where? Is it in Tel Aviv? I don't think I've been. He said, no, the state of Israel is your third temple. And you should protect it and be good to it. And that wasn't what I expected to hear. And I liked that about him. And he wasn't what I expected to fall in love with, but I did. And here we are all these years later. Our son was born in 2022. And it's an adventure, for lack of a better word, and a challenge, but also kind of deeply moving to be raising a kid that has been blessed and burdened with different facets of Jerusalem. Our son, like the city, is sort of a mosaic of all our different pieces. And this gave me like a kind of a twist on the kaleidoscope and made me look at this place in a different way. And it was really eye-opening for me. And being with my partner in general has been a learning experience. And I think for both of us, too.
And then how does October 7th intrude on this, or where you were, where he was? Were you together? Mm-hmm.
So on October 7th, we hear the sirens. He says, oh, it's just a siren. And he goes back to sleep. But then there's another siren and another siren and another siren. And then he wakes up. So we live in Armona Netziv. It's a neighborhood right on the edge of southeast Jerusalem. And meanwhile, across the street from us, through the windows, we can see our neighbors who live in Sir Bakr and Jabal Mukaber are sending off fireworks. And we hear the sounds of celebration. And this is just surreal, eerie, feels catastrophic, like the end of the world. I think we were in a state of shock for quite many hours. And a few days later, middle of the night, I'm preparing a bottle for the baby, and I hear the sound of tinkling glass that reminds me of wind chimes where I grew up in Venice. And I thought, oh, that's so pretty. And then I see this burst of light right outside the window, of flames licking up towards the glass. And I realized, like, we're getting hit with Molotov cocktails. Yeah, our neighbors from the village across the street have come to throw, explosives at our house. And my partner is also a volunteer police officer. So he shouts out the window in Arabic, words that are probably not fit to air. And he says, I have a gun. They continue to throw. We continue to hear the glass breaking. So he shoots in the air. And then they take off running. And he wants to put on his police volunteer vest and go chase them. And I'm saying to him, don't you freaking leave the house, stay with us. Meanwhile, I'm on the other line with the police, and the police show up. And they see the people who were throwing bottles at our house have left behind a bucket with more explosives that they were going to throw. And like there were maybe 12, 13, 14 other bottles in there. And we're right on the gas line. So he saved the building, really. They told him, like, that was heroic what you did. Thank you. So that was how the war literally came to our window that night.
And then it came back again later, didn't it?
Yeah. So 4 a.m. one night, I woke up to a text, and it said, don't worry, I'm not home. I'm in the police station, but I'm okay. So the last time I had seen him was when I went to bed and he was in the living room, all right? Like, how did he get from the living room to the police station? Well, it turns out that he was selling his clarinet. He was selling it to a friend of his, another Christian guy from the old city. And they were downstairs chatting. And while they were talking, the guy's car was parked on the side of the street, and another car tried to drive through. And there was enough room for him to pass, but he stopped the car and he yelled, you need to move. Well, why do we need to move? They asked, like, there's plenty of room. And then the guy gets out of the car and he starts cursing them. He says, am I allowed to say these words? You fucking Arabs, you fucking Muslims, fuck your Ramadan, fuck your mother, feel free to blurt me out on this. And then he starts beating them with nunchucks. Because we live in 1980 and it's a Chuck Norris movie or something. So he's hitting these two guys with the nunchucks. He's hitting both men. Luckily, the friend is filming. So we have documentation. And my partner calls the police while they're being hit. And the guy is out of his mind. And he's continuing to hit them even as the police show up. So they were able to arrest him. And then we had to go down to the station for questioning, but that was pretty awful, and it made us feel unsafe because the man who attacked them is a neighbor. He's a Jewish neighbor who's angry about the war, angry about the situation, and he doesn't live far from us.
So you're getting it from both sides?
Yeah. Look, well, we love our building where everyone comes from these different worlds and we're all sort of squeezed into the same stairwell during the Iran attack or when sirens go off. We're also faced with other people in the neighborhood who can be pretty horrible for whatever reason. Prejudice, racism, anger, fear, extremism. It's all part of this kaleidoscope of living here.
And, is that true for you too, in your own home?
One of the challenges for me as I navigate the news in Israel, in Hebrew and in English, is he's navigating the news in Arabic through Al Jazeera and through these other, news stations from around the region. And sometimes I'm seeing things I don't want to see, and I make him turn it off. And sometimes he's seeing things that he doesn't want to see on my end too. And some days we can't talk about the war because it's too painful. Yeah. For many reasons, Israeli media does not cover the destruction and devastation in Gaza. And believe you me, Al Jazeera is not covering anything on October 7th except to discredit what is true. And having to navigate these two news cycles in the same living room at the same time is incredibly challenging. Look, this whole thing is, I can't stand the word triggering, but it is triggering. It's especially when it comes to violence against women. I take it personally. And when he's hearing from his media sources that Israel lied about the sexual assaults, I have to then go in and explain to him how that's not true, that women and men did endure this. And here are the stories, here are the accounts, here are the pictures. And he, to his credit, he's willing to listen. He looks at it. He takes it all in. But it's a lot of emotional work to do that. And it creates sort of chaos in the head to have all these different pieces that all are true and make sense individually, cut and scrape and burn you as you try to hold all of them together. And I think all of us right now are feeling some degree of uncertainty, certainly on the national level and on the personal level. Every time the phone rings, every time there's a WhatsApp, we feel that sort of dread settle into our stomach. And certainly I feel that with home life as well. I don't know what's going to happen. But we both love our son, and the stakes are very high in raising our child and in making sure that our son grows up to be safe and feel not just physically safe, but feel emotionally and spiritually, psychically safe. And so we are doing our best to raise our son to be essentially a Jewish Palestinian child. And it's a struggle. Look, any relationship, any co-parenting situation is going to be a struggle, whether you grew up right next door to each other or whether you grew up on different planets that are still in proximity. But also, it provides opportunity for real learning, for connection, and even for actual hope. Like, if we can do this, if we can make it work, even if we can just sit in the same room together, maybe others can too.
So, Sarah, what's your hope for the future, for your son?
October 7th broke something in me that I'm trying to repair, and I refuse to stop trying to repair it, and that is my faith in people doing the right thing. So I want him to be part of that, part of the tikkun that this world desperately needs. I also want him to sleep through the night, get through potty training, and to wear his glasses, and, stop throwing toys at the television. But, yeah.
רכישת רוח ים מנשבת מאי שם וכביסה מתנפנפת לצילי החומה בין الأرض والسماء ناس كتير بعيشوا سوا ما تخافوا تحلموا بالسلام والأمان ما تعيمسوا خمات הפחד ושבתי מגלותי ייפתחו שעריי אל הטוב האמיתי
peace. I want to thank you for standing up for peace alongside your Palestinian sisters. I want to thank you and to let you know that in the world that we live in, peace is possible only when women of integrity and faith stand up for the future of their children. Congratulations. It is my hope that you will continue to battle for peace in a constructive way, and I look forward to the day that I will come and join you. Thank you for the children of Israel. Thank you for the children of Palestine. Thank you. Peace. Shalom.
From the north to the south, from the west to the east, hear the prayer of the mothers. Bring them peace, bring them peace. From the north to the south, from the west to the east, salvation is on the fire of the last. Bring the last, bring the last. From the north to the south, from the west to the east, salvation is on the fire of the last. Bring the last, bring the last. From the north to the south, from the west to the east, salvation is on the fire of the last. Bring the last, bring the last. Hear the prayer of the mothers. Bring them peace, bring them peace. Bring them peace, bring them peace. Bring them peace, bring them
To get people excited about Boost Mobile's new nationwide 5G network, we're offering unlimited talk, text, and data for $25 a month.
Forever.
Even if you have a baby.
Even if your baby has a baby.
Even if you grow old and wrinkly and you start repeating yourself.
Even if you start repeating yourself.
Even if you're on your deathbed and you need to make one last call.
Or text.
Right, or text. The long-lost son you abandoned at birth.
You'll still get unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month with Boost Mobile.
Forever!
After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
Forever.